Welcome all students. We will be continuing our civics subject standard 8th. Part 3. So let's continue with our first point of this module, Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. The President is the constitutional head. However, in reality, his powers are nominal and the Prime Minister, along with his Council of Ministers, is responsible for the administration. We will now see the role and functions of the Prime Minister. The party which attains a majority in elections nominates their leader as the Prime Minister. The Council of Ministers is then formed of trustworthy colleagues from within the party. The Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers must be members of the Parliament. In case they are not members, they are required to get elected to the Parliament within 6 months of their appointment. The government in reality is run by the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. This means that the real executive powers are vested in the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. The candidate for the post of the Prime Minister, who is invited by the President, invites ministers to form the government. When the candidate for the post of the Prime Minister submits to the Saeima the list of government ministers and the proposed government activity plan and receives confidence vote by the Saeima, the Prime Minister and the cabinet of ministers start to fulfill their functions and exercise authority. Now here the meaning is Saeima means the Parliament of the Republic of Latvia. It is a unicameral parliament consisting of 100 members who are elected by proportional representation with seats allocated to political parties which gain at least 5% of the popular vote. Elections are scheduled to be held once every 4 years, normally on the first Saturday of October. The most recent elections were held in October 2018. The President of Latvia can dismiss the Saeima and request early elections. The procedure for dismissing it involves substantial political risk to the President, including a risk of loss of office. Okay, next we will see functions of the Prime Minister. First, the foremost task of the Prime Minister is to form his Council of Ministers. While doing this, the Prime Minister gives priority to trustworthy colleagues while considering their administrative experience, governance skills, efficiency, and technical expertise. Second point, after deciding upon the members of the Council of Ministers, the Prime Minister allocates portfolios to them. Third, the Prime Minister leads the Council of Ministers. The Prime Minister chairs all the meetings of the Council of Ministers. Fourth, after allocation of portfolios, the Prime Minister has to maintain coordination in the working of various departments, facilitate cooperation amongst the departments, supervise the working of these departments in order to maintain efficacy and efficiency, etc. Now here, efficacy means the ability to produce a desired or intended result. Okay? Next, fifth point. The Prime Minister also has various other responsibilities, such as to raise the image of the country in the international arena and work towards achieving a favorable opinion globally, to develop trust among the people, and to provide strong support to people who are victims of any disaster, etc. The Prime Minister determines the general direction of government's activities and ensures coordinated and purposeful work of the Cabinet of Ministers. The Prime Minister leads the work of Cabinet of Ministers and is responsible before Saima. The Prime Minister chairs Cabinet sittings and meetings of the Committee of the Cabinet of Ministers. The Prime Minister appoints parliamentary secretaries of the ministries according to recommendation by the respective minister. Ministers, after confidence vote by the Saima. Chief of Staff of the Prime Minister's office and advisors to the Prime Minister. If it is required for fulfillment of specific tasks, the Prime Minister may issue an order to set up temporary consultative councils or working groups indicating their composition, issues to be considered, activities and responsibilities, which within the scope of their competence present opinion and proposals to the Prime Minister or the Cabinet of Ministers. In addition to direct responsibilities, the Prime Minister may permanently lead the work of one ministry. Now next point is functions of Council of Ministers. First point, in a parliamentary form of government, the Council of Ministers takes initiative in the process of law making. The scheme, policy, plans, etc. are drafted and discussed and then introduced in the House. The Council of Ministers discusses important questions before making a decision. Second point is education, agriculture, industry, health, foreign relations, among others, are subjects upon which the Council of Ministers has to decide specific policies or direction of work. The Parliament needs to be taken into confidence about the policy decisions taken by the government. Therefore, the ministers of respective departments lay their policy plans in the House to bring about a decision on it. Third point, implementation of policy is the foremost responsibility of the Council of Ministers. Once the Parliament approves the laws, the Council of Ministers implements them. Next point is, how does the Parliament keep a check over the executive? Okay. In a parliamentary system of government, the legislature tries to keep control over the executive, that is, the Council of Ministers. The control is exercised in the law making or policy making process, implementation of policies, and even after that. A few ways of exercising control are given here. First, discussions and debates. Debate and discussion among the members of the House are an integral part of law-making process. These debates and discussions help the members to scrutinize the policy proposals and laws and point out the shortcomings. These discussions are essential for creation of healthy laws. See, discussion is a remedy, we can tell that. Okay, we can say that discussion, debates, it's a part of that subject, part of that topic. If there are some shortcomings, then we can change the policy, we can discuss over that, and then we can remove that shortcomings. So that is why they are saying here, these discussions are essential for creation of a healthy laws. Got it, everyone? Next point is question R. During parliamentary sessions, the proceedings of the House begins with questions asked by the members of the House. The concerned ministers are supposed to give satisfactory answers to these questions. Question R is one of the most effective ways of keeping a check over the Council of Ministers. During question hour, members criticize the government and ask many questions on various issues. Sometimes, when a member is not satisfied with the answer of the minister, arguments take place. Occasionally, members walk out of the house or enter into the well of the house and give slogans to record their protest. See, asking question, it is very good remedy. Okay, discussions after then asking questions. What happens actually when you ask the questions, then you will get proper answers and you will become satisfied. And otherwise, what happened if you didn't get answer, if you didn't become satisfied, then argument takes place. That thing, that on that place. So sometime occasionally what happened, that members walk out from the house and then when they enter, then they give slogan to record their protest. Third point, 0R. Now what is the meaning of 0R that we are going to see? During the parliamentary sessions, the period around 12 noon is called 0R. During this period, any question of public importance can be raised and discussed. 0R is an Indian parliamentary innovation. Okay, it is not mentioned in the parliamentary rules book. That is very important thing. Under this, MPs can raise matters without any prior notice. The 0R starts immediately after the question hour and lasts until the agenda for the day, that is means regular business of the house is taken up. In other words, the time gap between the question hour and the agenda is known as 0 hour. Got it, everyone? Next point is no confidence motion. This is one of the most effective ways to keep a check on the Council of Ministers. The government stays in power till it enjoys the support of majority in Lok Sabha. If the members of parliament withdraw the support, it may lead to loss of majority and the government cannot stay in power. The members of the house can move a no confidence motion by simply expressing we do not have confidence in the government. If the motion is passed with majority support, then the Council of Ministers has to resign. There is an extensive bureaucracy that works under the executive. We will study this bureaucracy in 6th chapter. Students, we have finished this lesson over here. I hope you have understood very well. Thank you.